Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Paranormal Weekend Morning Brew Show. Get your brewskis ready, or your coffee, your tea, whatever you're drinking, and pull up a chair next to the table. And for the next hour or so, we're going to talk about everything weird, everything strange, everything questionable, because why? We question everything. Okay? So, that being said, I'm going to get through the disclaimer, and then we're going to get into today's topic, which is the two moons, the blood moon coming up in October, what all that means to us as a race of people, to humanity as predicted in the future by Nostradamus and all the other prophets and stuff out there that claim that they could read into the future. So, disclaimer is Nighthawk High Strange, this podcast channel may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the fair use. Nighthawk High Strange, this podcast channel, and all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content, including the music, to be used for the sole purpose of informing you, the viewing family, of information for criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, research, parody, and general knowledge only, and let's not forget the entertainment value per Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known herein as the fair use. Alrighty, let me get that off of there and say hello to everybody in the chat and introduce my cohort in crime here, Mr. E.D. Testerman. He's the ornery, fluffy guy you see in the chat all the time, picking on Roxanne and everybody else in there. Let's go over there and say hello to everybody. Every time I say that, it reminds me of that damn Christmas movie, Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase, where the aunt comes in and goes, "I need to say hello to everybody. Hello, everybody." Anyways, good morning, Uncut. Good to see you. There's that E.D. Testament. There's that Roxanne, keeping him in line. Good to see you.
She's trying.
Ray, good to see you. Camo Dad, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. All righty. Let's see. And that's everybody for the time being. If you're out there, just let us know. We'll say hello to you. We'll get your chats up here on the podcast here as soon as possible. All righty. Let's see. Larry, good to see you in here, brother. Good to see you. All right. Oh man, we got into some heavy topics last night.
Yeah,
we really did.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
the
chat was going through that. I couldn't even keep up with it, you know.
Yeah. And then once we got done there, I finished up chapter 2, that new book. Oh yeah. Hey, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Camo, hope you have some good time off. I ended up finishing chapter 2 of the book last night. Then I laid in bed and I couldn't sleep because I had 2 cats, 2 dogs in and out of bed, rolling around. I'm like, y'all, this is my bed and I can't even get comfortable. Finally, somewhere around 1 o'clock this morning, I was able to go to sleep. Good news is it's actually raining here now. I'm actually enjoying this.
Yeah,
my room is nice and cool for a change.
I guess prayer works.
I tell you, that's an interesting subject. You didn't know. Back in 93, 97, I was in wood shop back when we actually had wood shop in middle school. And so
imagine that.
I was reading.
Had wood shop.
Yeah, and I love that stuff. So I actually made me what's called a thunder stick. It's an old Native American deal. I painted the correct symbols on it, made it the way it's supposed to be made of, out of the correct wood, used a leather tong for the attach the paddle to the stick. I mean, I created everything per regulations of the Native American people when they wanted to call about rain. Of course, back then I was still young, man. I was skeptic. I was young. I remember, man, I used to go out there several times a day, twirling this thing, all different speeds, all different frequencies that it made. I mean, when you spun it, the paddle goes, different frequencies and stuff. We had massive flooding that year. I have not used that stick since. Hey, Kyle.
Yeah, that's good to see Kyle in the chat there. Just some of the subjects we're going to be getting into today is going to be the 2 moons and all that, and then the blood moon. And I also want to cover the little people a little bit here, because often they go overlooked with all the big cryptid activity that's going on around us, and everybody into the paranormal field. Sometimes they overlook the little people of the forest, and those legends run very deep amongst native people from the lands here. And I know for a fact I've touched on it periodically in the past podcast with how to leave them gifts, what kind of gifts you want to leave them before you enter the forest, or go up into the mountains and whatnot. Um, and we're gonna cover that again today. And I'm gonna tell you what some of the symbolisms that you're gonna find when you see little people. Okay. So we'll get into that. But there's supposed to be a blood moon coming up on October. I believe it's October 17th. And a lot is said about this being the final blood moon for the end time prophecies that's coming up. And I'm just wondering, the some of the people in Israel have already declared that the Messiah is here, but they're doing it discreetly. They haven't really introduced any. Hey, Mr. Saturn, good to see you. They haven't really introduced, anybody, as far as being the chosen Messiah. And I would be skeptical of that, anyways, because me, question everything. I don't know why I do that, but I just do that. Anyways, to get past it, I wanted to see if anybody actually heard any updates of the red heifer sacrificing. If anybody in the chat has heard any updates on that, would
I
you
haven't heard
please
that in a
mention
long
it in the
time.
chat? Because I would imagine they would have to do that sacrifice of the red heifer here pretty soon in order to rebuild the third temple. Now, and I would think that they would have to do it like within the next 2 weeks at least, But I'm just curious to see if anybody else heard anything, because I haven't heard anything, and I've been checking on it daily, just to see if I could find some kind of update. And there's really no update other than they're eliminating, certain cattle from the actual pick. Good morning, Angelique. Good to see you. Roxanne's talking bacon, eggs, and biscuit and gravy. Tracy must be talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'll tell you what, man, you can't beat Tracy's cooking. I'm telling you, man. She should have her own cooking channel. I should actually consider that with her. It'd probably be a hit. Anyways,
man, I'm a sucker for
getting into
biscuits and
that
gravy.
whole yeah, she really does it up right. So, and just the other things, they talk about the two moons now, and my oldest son came up to me the other day, and he started mentioning to me something about a meteor um, that's going to be coming into our atmosphere and actually join within the moon's orbit. And it's a small meteor, so it'll look like probably the size of a star from the distance. But a lot of people are seeing this. And I just, for the life of me, and you see the bright object off to the left side of the two moons. I'm thinking that might even be that meteor that he was telling me about. I don't know. I don't know if we could call that wormwood or not, because the Oumuamua was supposed to be wormwood, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of that coming back through. So maybe
They've
that
talked
meteor
about
that
it.
he's talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, what have you heard about that, about the Oumuamua?
So it was a couple years ago. I heard that they actually spotted it on satellite on their telescope, and it was on a course for Earth, which fits right in with the um, Old Testament. Yeah, or not the Old Testament.
Okay.
with the end of times that the Bible talks about.
Yeah.
Revelations.
Yeah, the Revelations prediction, of Wormwood returning, And
Mm-hmm.
that's the other thing too, though. You mentioned satellites. Now, you all know me. I'm a little bit of a freak when it comes to the planet being round and we're spinning at thousands of miles an hour, and how water doesn't. Water typically finds the least resistance and goes to it. And if we were spinning,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't the water just be in turmoil? And I believe it would. I just don't believe it. We spin at thousands of miles an hour. I really don't. That's just not me. Okay, I'm not up for that cover up, whatever they want to call it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
as far as the Earth goes, let's just say that what if this meteor that's coming into our atmosphere is because of what we talked about last night with CERN. We touched on that subject a little bit, and opening up the gateway basically for a parallel universe to bring in something else, like an asteroid, a comet, anything along that lines, a meteor. What do you think the odds on that would be? Because this meteor basically came out of nowhere. I'll bet you Mr. Saturn would be able to help us out with that subject too.
That gets me to thinking about the old movie Super Troopers, or not Super Troopers. Oh my God, Killing the Bugs. They use the asteroids to destroy worlds. Uh, God, I love them movies too. They're so fun. The only good bug
Right.
is a dead bug. My God, I forgot the name of that movie. But they hurtle stuff into the atmosphere that hits the asteroids and sends them on projectile course for Earth to destroy them. And I laugh because when I hear people talk about this, these spaceship troopers, yes, Starship Troopers, that's it, Ray. Starship Troopers.
Starship.
Whenever I hear
Starship.
that stuff, I think of that because it's like that would make perfect sense. It's an energy saving way to launch an attack. And we know how devastating.
Well, what do you think about this theory? Yeah, what do you think about this theory though, Eric, and everybody in the chat? What if that was not just, coming from a parallel universe, but what if it was the return of the Anunnaki?
Sure. Well, I mean, we are due for the 3,600-year rotation of the Anunnaki's home planet, Nibiru.
Nibiru, yeah.
Nibiru, yeah. We're due for that 3,600-year rotation, and if you study the ancient text, this ancient sand text, it says that their planet orbits our Earth once every 3,600 years. And they've actually spotted the planet and said that planet is on its way to Earth.
Okay, now my next question. My next question for everybody in the chat, and you, Eric, would be all the pyramids that we're seeing over Lebanon, over Israel, over the Pentagon. Maybe those are some of the craft that the Anunnaki use, because the Anunnaki are, the Sumerian and ties to the Anunnaki are very, very strong, and the whole Egyptian type of a thing. With the Agigi and some of the Egyptian, minor gods and stuff like that they talked about. That was all connected because they say the Anunnaki created man, okay, and from ape and human, DNA and their DNA, but at the same time, old texts that are missing out of the Bible, out of the King James version of the Bible, talk about the Anunnaki mixing their DNA with animals at the same time, which would give us a lot of the cryptid activity that we're seeing.
Well, the
Wouldn't you think?
chimeras, those, I mean, the Sphinx, I mean, a lot of that stuff would tie directly in with that.
Exactly, it would. And I just thought it kind of curious that, maybe that's why back when Constantine, back in 325 BC, or no, AD, excuse me, BC, 325 AD, maybe that's why he and that group of found Christians that banned these books out of the Bible, maybe that's why they wanted to hide it from us, because of the information that would have ransacked the whole concept of religion. If you think about it, it really would have. The whole concept of religion wouldn't have even survived if they divulged that. And you have to wonder, the government, our government, and governments around the world have stated to their citizens that, if we release anything like that, it would destroy your confidence in God, and it would cause havoc and all this. I don't think it would. I think people are smarter than that and more resilient than that. I don't
Will there
think
be
that the
some that
governments
acts
around
up?
the world. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, there
I
will be.
just don't. Yeah, I just don't. I don't think that they give people around the world enough credit where credit is due. So, I mean, we've survived a lot of things already. So, we're pretty resilient when it comes to this. But yeah, I just thought it interesting, with the pyramids being seen, and now this meteor coming in, and it's basically doing the orbit with the moon, and it's a meteor. He said it was, and get this, you're gonna freak out. Okay, you're gonna love this one. He goes, Dad, he goes, what's the most important number for the Freemasons? And I said, oh, it's 33. And he goes, well, this meteor is 33 miles across. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was very,
Well,
very
I mean,
interesting. So
we know that Freemasonry dates back to the time of King Tut. King Tut has a lot of Freemason symbols. King Tut was a Freemason basically himself. He was an architect, a stonemason. He built wonderful
yeah,
things. So
I
if
keep
he's
on wanting to
tied to
do
the
that King Tut.
Anunnaki, yeah. If he's tied to the line of the Anunnaki, and this thing is come from by the Anunnaki, I can see where that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Let me say hello to a couple people here. We got Girl with the gong in the chat. Good to see you. Richard, it's great to see you in the chat there, brother. Very, very good to see you. Poncho, it's good to see you in the chat too. But you better behave yourself, young person.
Roxanne's going to get you.
Of course, Roxanne's in there. She'll take care of her. She'll take care of. Yeah, she'll take care of Poncho, and she'll take care of that ED guy. So in case they get out of line,
Yeah.
I'm sure Richard and Girl with the
That
Gong will be
ED
her backup.
Joker, man. That ED Joker guy, dude, he's something else. I tell you, that cat is a strange one.
Yeah. So and then not getting out of the subject here, but you think about it, with the DNA and stuff that the Anunnaki mixed with the wildlife per se. That's why we have a lot of the Egyptian hieroglyphs of even Bigfoot would be that, but it would be it would be more like, you'd see the depictions in Egypt on the walls, and the Sphinx, I mean, is a good one too. Lion and human, human DNA. Even the same kind of headgear that the Anunnaki would wear. There's several pictures out there that depict the same thing: a human face with the headgear, and a dog or a lion's body standing next to the Anunnaki. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things. Fluffy baby
Well,
face
yeah, I
gummy
mean,
bear.
because we're always trying to tie things together, which, I've said this on my show. I've said this on other shows. I've said it on this show. We have to be genetically damn near identical with Shia Tonka in order for us to be able to mate and make babies. I started off with one theory. The theory was we all started off in the same line as Homo erectus. We just kind of branched off and went another way where they went straight, which would make sense why we are genetically similar. Another one could be very well the Anunnaki had taken their genes, which if you go study the Anunnaki, we come from the bloodline of the Anunnaki, which would make sense in this. And they created, Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And they created us, which would make us similar in that way as well. Can't say for sure which one is the right one or which one's the wrong one. Both of them have a lot of merit. Both of them make a lot of sense. How it is, I don't know. I mean, the natives call Shiaton elder big brother. First beings.
But there's that theory out there too, and I'm sure that
Uh-oh. Is it me or are you froze?
I'm not frozen.
Okay, so it must be me freezing up. We're getting lightning out here. Hey, Demo.
Yeah. Hey, Demos. Good to see you. It's saying Camo Dad saying I froze up.
Okay, so it was you. All right.
I mean, I didn't see anything.
Hello.
I didn't see anything happen to my end. But
yeah, you froze up, and I was like, 100 years ago, we would be considered the giants.
I forgot what I was saying now. The whole idea of that's been put out there too by Billy Carson and several others about humanity coming from Mars and transplanting themselves here on Earth. When the actual species that inherited the Earth and evolved with either genetic engineering from the Anunnaki or whether it was natural evolution, would have been the dinosaurs, which leads me into my other subject today that I want to talk about, which is the reptilians.
Could that be why we have?
What do you think about that theory? Yeah, I mean, but what do you think about that whole theory of what Billy Carson says about the whole the Anunnaki created the reptilian race that lived here, as basically very Iggy.
It's possible. I mean, they did say they took the blood or the DNA of the species that was on this planet and mixed it with theirs and created life forms, and then eventually they created us. So I mean, it's possible. Billy Carson is, man. There's stuff he says that I like, and there's some stuff he says that I'm like, dude, you're really. Are you even working for a good cause? I mean, he's kind of on the fence. I don't know about him.
Yeah, the feeling I get about the whole thing with him is the fact that he basically changes his outlook on things concerning the Anunnaki. He'll say one thing, but he won't have anything other than his research to back it up. And I
Yeah.
just, I think to myself, that's how a lot of the disinformation is done on the internet. Is they stick these researchers, that are basically paid for by the CIA or governments to basically filter in things to take the heat off of being seen doing other things or finding out other things. It's called disinformation, and it happens so much in paranormal and supernatural fields and cryptid field.
It does. Yeah. I kind of want to
Now,
address this real quick. The girl, you're correct, but in a way that you probably don't understand. Dinosaurs wasn't coined to around 1841, 1861 was when the phrase dinosaur was coined. Before then, our ancestors called them dragons. So yes, there was no dinosaurs, only dragons and giants at one time because dinosaurs is a new
they didn't
phrase.
have any.
They were known as
Oh yeah,
dragons.
yeah. They didn't have anything to refer it to. So the only thing that they knew was their legends of dragons. So they obviously,
Mm,
whenever they found the bones and stuff, they would assume, well, hey, these are dragon bones. This is proof that there's dragons. So yeah, that's very
yeah.
true. I'm not denying that they didn't call them dragons. Um, what
Yeah.
I'm saying is that the DNA was engineered by the Anunnaki, and
Hmm.
there's several researchers and all that, and paleontologists and stuff and geneticists that agree with that whole concept. That's like them saying that the ark of the or the not the ark, but Noah's ark was just a DNA lab, is all it was, where they had the vials and they just kept the DNA. They didn't actually take the actual paired animals and insects and all that on board at some boat. That it was just DNA
Hmm.
samples. So, what do you all think about that? I put that out there to see what everybody in the chats, thinks about that.
Yeah. Which I've always had a issue with Noah's Ark because of the size of it. You could not fit every single life form, two of each, on that size of the ark. So I've always had an issue when it comes to that because it just literally makes no sense. Figuratively and scientifically, it makes absolutely zero sense that you can get every single type of life form, two of each, on that size of a ship.
Right.
You would need one that was about
Right.
30 times
Now
bigger,
I'm interested.
what it actually was to build.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Mhm.
I'm interested to see why Richard says that no animals evolved here. I'm curious to where Richard gets that information. So I'm not saying it's not true. I'm curious to find out more
Yeah.
why you feel that way, Richard. So
Yeah, I mean,
but
I am too, because for
also if you
me, I
think
don't
about
think
it,
this was terraformed. I think, go ahead, sorry. I lost. Sorry.
no, go ahead. I'm done. I'm
Oh,
done.
for me, I'm sorry, man. You kind of glitched out on me, and I thought you was done for a second. Um, for me, I thought, for me, I'm like, okay, there's life form on this planet before us. Um, I don't know if it was so much terraforming, but I can't say you're wrong. It's just for me, from what I've studied on ancient stuff, there was always life form here. It just wasn't always us.
Right.
Man, this glitching's bad. I don't know if that was me. It might have been me this last time we glitched because I've got lightning going on.
Well, if you got lightning going on, we shouldn't fry your computer. Um,
Yeah.
if we have to shut down early, we'll shut down early. I mean, I don't want you to have to worry about your computer being fried from a lightning strike.
Uh,
So, but
I will tell you,
I
I'm
mean, I
kind of keeping an eye on it. That's why I keep
okay.
looking out my window. Yeah, Angelique, that's kind of where I'm
Angela,
wondering on the arc thing.
Yeah, if they weren't embryos, yeah. I kind of agree with
Mm-hmm.
that too, you know. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it just makes sense, the size of the ship that they would have had to make, and if you take two of each animal and insect and you know everything that inherently lived during that time. I don't think the ship
Yeah.
size that they made would have been big enough to hold everything. I really don't. When you think about the numbers, I mean,
No.
there's hundreds, if not thousands, of species that have died or gone extinct since then.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to consider those would be in the ark too, on top of everything else. So
Yep.
I think it was more of either it was an embryonic type of a stage where they had the tubes with the embryos in them, or they had just the DNA
Mm-hmm.
samples in tubes. That's just that's
Yeah.
just my opinion. Okay,
Yeah.
that is just my opinion, my theory. Okay, I have I have nothing to basically show that that's exactly what happened. That's my theory. Um,
Yep.
but then you get into
Here-
okay, well, if the Anunnaki messed with DNA of animals and stuff, yeah, I'll get to that in a second here. Um, you would think that if the Anunnaki messed with the animals' DNA and our DNA and all that, where did the little people come from?
Yeah.
I mean, where did they come from? Now there are tales and legends of little people, and I've studied this intensely, okay, for years. Um, and I've interacted with offerings for little people of the forest, and a lot of their a lot of their I guess you could call it a culture. Okay, a lot of their
Mm.
culture when they were dealing with the Cherokee people and the Lakota people and all that, and the Shawnee, a lot of them would take pure crystalline rocks, okay, and they would somehow tap into the ambient power within those crystals within the rocks, okay, and some
Mm-hmm.
of the legends talk about the little people making their own stargates and stuff out of
Mm-hmm.
wood, and basically it looks like an arch. Okay, it just looks like a wedding arch that you would walk under, but it's made out of branches and stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
and so and the crystals would be put in a pattern of a spiral. Okay, now the spiral would always go from right to left, and then the one next to it would go left to right. Okay, so you have two opposing spirals made of crystal stones that are placed. All right, then
Mm-hmm.
what they would do is they would take two of the other rocks that had crystals in them, pure white crystals, um, and they would position them on the ground in the dirt of the forest in a place where, well, almost like a planetary alignment, okay,
Mm-hmm.
which they would, it would help them manifest the portal, the gateway or whatever that you call it, that they would open, that they built. Okay, and what the little people would do is they would just sit there. Okay, and there would be a group of them. It wouldn't just be one or two. It'd be a group of them, probably up to five or six or even seven or eight, somewhere around there. And they would all basically put the crystal vibrations into the gateway. Okay, now that gateway would work as a portal, and they could go from this world to the next parallel universe. Okay, they couldn't time
Mm-hmm.
travel, but they could go from parallel universe to parallel universe. Okay, and hop, skip, and a jump across the worlds that way. And when you don't see them as much, the reason you don't see them as much in our world is because they do that. They come to our world for a certain amount of time, and then they'll go to the parallel universe for a certain amount of time, and so on and so on. And they traverse all the universes, all the parallel universes that way. Okay. But it's not time travel whatsoever. Okay. Now I know that for a fact because I have come across these sites in the woods. The arches are only about, I'd say, probably at the most 4 feet tall. Okay. But to them, it would be like 15 feet tall. You know what I mean? Because they're smaller than we are. So, and what it is, it's an archway. Here, I'm going to draw it because I've come across it quite
interesting.
a bit.
I've seen that a few times, even on my property.
It's kind of like this. And then the stones are placed in a spiral pattern. Kind of looks like this. Okay.
Okay.
Wow. That's from what I've observed. And that's one of the things that I used to take for gifts, that gift little people, because our people were under the impression that basically they were elementals. Okay, they were part of the supernatural of the forest. Okay, they were connected to all things, because we as Native people back then, we didn't know. We didn't know about portals and all this other crap. To us, it was spiritual. Okay, it was a supernatural event. People say, "Oh, Bigfoot disappeared." Walking that way, and the tracks actually end. And they're gone, and Bigfoot disappeared. Um, we had to think that way. We had nothing back then to compare it to. Okay, nothing. So we compared it to our spiritual aspect of our lives. Okay. So, and the same thing happened with the little people. We referred to them as elementals, basically of the environment, of Mother Earth. That they were Mother Earth's protectors. Okay? Now, when you come across this stuff in the woods, okay, and I used to come across it, and it's usually not. You don't even have to go really that far to come across anything like this. You'll know when you're in an area that they're in, because it's not an area that you're going to see too many small wildlife. Okay. But you're gonna find that arch every time. Okay, you're gonna find that. Okay, that arch. All right, and you're gonna find the stones with the quartz and stuff in it, and the crystals in it, on the ground. Okay, in a spiral pattern. Now, if you take that and you look at a lot of the petroglyphs and the hieroglyphs and stuff, and cave paintings and all that from Native people, the indigenous cultures of North America, you'll see that we do the same thing. We have spiral patterns that we put on our canyon walls and stuff. Okay, and we draw certain deities and beings next to those. Okay, well, those are the deities and the beings that came through that what you would call a portal. Okay, so I mean, when I say it's all connected, it's literally all connected. Okay, and literally, when you're seeing a spiral, you're seeing the actual depiction, our depiction of a portal basically opening up. Okay, and That's why we have the symbolisms on the ground in a lot of our formations that we do. It's like I said before about how we used to mark trails so our relatives could find us, by stacking stones and having one stone depict the direction we went and all the others depiction the direction of the place that we wouldn't go. Okay. Now, the reason I think that a lot of the stone stacking that we're seeing going on now currently is because a lot of the cryptids do the same thing. Okay. And a lot of the elementals will do the same thing because, the native people used to interact with them, okay, on a regular basis. Okay. Whether it was through ceremony or whether it was through, just casually coming across each other.
Yeah.
It's just something that's natural to us right now. Okay. But at the time, a lot of people don't understand that, before Columbus was here and before the Vikings came here and the Oriental people came here and the Polynesian people came here, on the West Coast. Before all those other cultures came here, we didn't have an idea of other entities or beings living on this planet other than us. Okay. And, so you got to compare, it's not going to be, so cut and dry when you're dealing with Native American legends, because it's going to, legends are based on fact. Okay. But a lot of times that fact can be misinterpreted because we had nothing to compare it to. Okay. So,
yeah.
But that's just, that's just something that I've come to learn over a long period of time, that we just, it's like when people see Dogman, well, my ancestors and myself used to call it Bear Man, because we didn't know, we had no concept of what a dog man was. So we compared it to the closest animal that we would think of, and that was a bear, because we knew the bear could walk on 2 feet. Okay. The bear would walk on 2 feet. So naturally we'd see a dog man walking on 2 feet and we'd say, oh, there's the bear man. You see what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff that went on. And that's why a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with nowadays, when people say, oh, it's there's no woo factor when it comes to things. There's woo factor in everything in this planet, folks. Everything. Literally everything we do is woo factor. Okay. So I've rambled on long enough.
Jessica said something kind of interesting. She found 2 arches yesterday. I'm curious because I never thought about this until you said it with the stones. I've seen arches even out here on my property. Never thought to look for stones. So I'm wondering, Jessica, did you happen to see stones on your arches? And I also wanted to bring up something else too. I forgot who said it now about the multiple arcs. That's possible because if you study every single ancient history or ancient history, they all talk about a flood and surviving it. Most of them said they were on top of mountaintops, but others said that they created a ship as well. So the possibility of there being more than one arc, I can't dispute that possibility because it fits with ancient history. I mean, it's hard to say.
Right.
We do know things that were twisted in the Bible when it was newly created. So could that be something that was twisted out of it? Possibly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many things in common with religions around the world and descriptions of things that it's almost this, you can almost line it up as being the same thing that each civilization is talking about, just in a different manner, a different way of identifying it. You know, and that unfortunately that's just the way it is. I mean, it's like when you go over to India and you look at their ancient cultures and stuff, you know, and they have all these different descriptions of things that are different from
Mhm.
ours, but yet the thing could actually look like what we were talking about. You know what I'm saying? As indigenous people. So I mean, it's just there's a lot of you know very very close similarities to every culture around the world when you deal with a lot of stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, when you come across that archway, there's supposed to be two uh, rock formations, okay, and then out of those formations, those spirals of opposite directions, you would depict which one you would want to charge off of or draw the energy off of to position the stones that represent the planets or the parallel universes in position. It's almost like, well, when you consider it, you know, when you look at it, you'll think what I thought the first time I saw it as a young adult, and that is it looks like a star planet or a star map,
Mhm.
basically a planetary map. That's what it looked like. Um, but it goes technically actually a lot farther than that. It goes more towards the supernatural type of a way of looking at it because it's not actually the stars in the skies that we're looking at. It's the parallel universes that we're looking at and how they hopscotch from one parallel universe to another. And that's why sometimes
Mhm.
you'll see them here, sometimes you interact with them here, and other times they won't. They won't be here. They'll be at another parallel universe. And that's just the reason they do that is that's how they travel it. And you know, it's the same way that they talk about the Southwest cultures with the people that came out of the earth, the ant people. Everybody
Mhm.
thinks that they were gray aliens. They weren't gray aliens. Okay, an ant person would we wouldn't call them an ant person if they were a gray alien. Okay, we would probably call them like you know like little people or something you know something resembling what they were like a maybe a beetle or something like that because you know the depiction that we had for the ant people on walls was that they had the antenna. Okay, now whether
Uh-huh.
it was an antenna that looked like a cross or whether it was an antenna that was two separate, it would still show a being depicted with that actual headgear on their head. Okay, and you know the Anastasi people are, are a great example of that. You look down in their ceremonial rounds, um, and you have an energy there. A lot of their
Mhm.
circular formations that the Anastasi made um, were actually working portals. Okay, we're actually
Mhm.
working stargates. Now, everybody says, "What happened to the Anastasi? They're not here anymore." But they had all this beautiful cliff dwellings and fortified areas and stuff. Um, well, they probably tapped into that type of an energy and went from this world to a parallel world. Okay, and now you're hearing things about the secret space program about finding humans on other parallel universes. You think
Mhm.
about it, that's probably what happened. They probably went to another universe or another planet with the portal that they're in. And that's why they're no longer there because they were at once a very, very thriving uh, community in the Southwest. And now they're not. You know, there's nothing left except the ruins. Which are still standing today, which tells you how great of a building race that they were. They were actually excellent builders. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Again, this is all just from what I've gathered, and I can't, I'm not going to deny that some of this stuff might be a little outrageous, but when I dealt with the little people, that's what I did. I'd take offerings. I would take like parts of blankets and stuff, buckskin, tobacco, that kind of stuff. Another thing too is like scented oil, like frankincense or myrrh, um, those kind of oils. Um, I will tell you this: they don't like peppermint. Don't like anything that abrasive of a smell. They like pleasant smells, which is kind of weird actually. But every time I'd put peppermint oil out, they would never take it. It would never disappear. I'd always have to take it back. But what they would take would be the frankincense, the myrrh, the lemon oils, the lemongrass, that kind of stuff, sweet smelling, sweet grass, that kind of stuff. They would take pieces of cloth, that they could make clothing out of, or homes out of, or anything. That's the kind of stuff that we use to trade with them. Okay, and we're supposed to do this every time we go into the forest. And that's another thing too. You have to be receptive. You have to be so receptive that when you go and you're going to a secluded area in the forest or the mountains, say, or even out in your 40 back 40 there, Eric, you have to do it in a manner that it respectfully requests that the little people keep an eye on you and make sure you're safe. There's a lot of things out there that could harm people, okay? And the little people, there are some legends of little people being evil, living within the granite boulders because of the quartz, and pulling people inside the boulders, and that's why people disappear. That's a theory too for the 411 missing people. That and walking through a portal and not ever coming back is another theory. But if you think about it, you could categorize little people as fae. You really could. So,
do you mind? That was rude.
Which cat was that?
Baby kitty.
All I saw was a flash of a butt.
Yeah. She came hauling up there, knocking my stuff over, ran across my screen. That was rude.
Yep. Cinnamon. Yeah. Yeah. Cinnamon's good. Mushrooms are good. Yeah, exactly. See, these are all things that I just learned over time, from dealing with it and doing the way I was taught to do it with, my culture growing up. So, and it is what it is, I mean, some people can believe it, some people don't have to, so.
Well, I actually uploaded a couple pictures because you got to talking about little people. And I've actually got a new hit on the test shot. So I'm going to show you the first one I had. The first one, I'm going to be honest, very well could be insects, but a lot of your fae are depicted in this way as well. And can't see it. I believe it's this one here is the first one. Let me make sure I'm right. Nope. Sorry. This one here. So this was the first one that is that thing not loading? Oh, man, I did the same one twice. That's what I did. Okay, never mind. So the first one had two of them. And you see that little white speck. That could have been, what they call a fae. A fae is known to look that way. This one here was actually just taken on the 18th. Once again, did not trip my camera, but you see that floating around, which now I've got to get in and get the other one uploaded. So this is twice now. Now, yes, could this actually be a bug? And it's just the camera took its test photo and it happened to be there. Yes, I'm not 100% saying this is Fae, but what I am saying, there is Fae, also known as little folk, also known as fairies, that's out there that will look just like this. So, I mean, that's stuff to keep in mind. I see a monkey face above the white speck. Let me put that back up. I didn't see that. I'm not seeing it. All I'm
I
seeing is
see
my trees.
something up above the. I see something up above the darker area. You know, but it's hard to make out what it
That
is.
that's tree. That's leaves. I get that on every single one of my photos. That's leaves.
What's
But
your
you're getting
pixel level
man,
on the camera?
it's at some kind of 4K or something like that. I can't remember directly off the top of my head. But I got it set at the highest. Now, what really sucks is this is actually supposed to record video, and I was on the phone with Muddy yesterday about it, and they said, "Oh, that one doesn't." And I said, "Well, then they lied to me. That's why I bought this because my old one, this one here that broke down, that didn't go directly to my phone, was able to take video, and this one here was supposed to too.
Right.
So I may have to get another one. But and the only reason why I have not moved that game cam because I've not picked up anything besides my daughter, the two possible portals, and now these two either insects or fae. This is the reason why I have not moved that camera yet because of the strange activity I've caught in this location.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, what have you
yeah.
have you put something out when you place the cameras out there, Eric? Are you putting
Mm-hmm.
something down for an offering to the elements and stuff, and to really you should put something down.
Yeah,
That
probably.
way, you probably open up some more of a supernatural connection.
I put that camera out there because I was trying to track the deer going into the clearing in my backyard. I never expected to catch the stuff that I caught on it. I was trying to pinpoint where the deer were coming out of my woods. I thought they'd be using that road that I've got cut in the woods there, and which goes down to where my bow stand is. I thought that I'd be catching deer coming up in there into the cleared out spot in my backyard. So that was the whole purpose of putting that cam there. Instead of putting it up where the original one was at, because I've already got one there, I was like, I'm going to try another location. And I've
Right.
been catching all this other stuff. And that's why I haven't moved it yet. Why these comments
Cool.
are going. Yeah, and that's the thing, Richard. Orbs, a lot of times orbs ain't what you're thinking they are. A lot of times what you're seeing orbs is actually fake. The um, not the dryads, the pixies. The pixies are known to be
Right.
is commonly described as like being firefly like, much like what these were. Yeah, Tinkerbell, Roxanne. Yeah. Um, so this is why I've not moved that game cam or done anything because instead of trying to capture what I wanted to capture and get another route down on the deer population in my woods, um, um, I'm catching other stuff.
All right.
So
Well, to actually try and improve the existence of portals and all that. I mean, and most everybody in the chat knows that I've been doing a lot of the frequency sound generating, the vibration type of stuff
mhm.
at 525 hertz, and I it fluctuates to when I can get something, and when I'm working with the chi with my energy, like I taught everybody to use their hands, um, things happen. Things actually start to happen. You know, because let me see here. I'm trying to find. Damn it! I didn't upload it. Okay. Yeah, I didn't upload it. Darn it. Okay. I can't show you then. Anyways, but I mean, the human mind and the human body and the human spirit. Here's the way I look at things too when we're dealing with the human aspect of things. Okay, you have your physical body, okay, which is one. You have your physical body, okay. Then you have your soul, okay, which is two things. Then you have your spirit. Your spirit is the third thing. The spirit and the soul are different. Okay, they're not the same. Okay, you can have your spirit in a place, a location, because you're connected to that location in some way, shape, or form from your life. Okay, but your soul is what goes on after your body is deceased. Your spirit usually attaches to something. That's where a lot of well, good way to do it. All right, good way to describe it is that's where you get a lot of the residual communications and recordings when you're doing ghost hunting. It's like a recorder playing over and over again. That's your spirit, okay? That's not your soul. Your soul is where it needs to go, okay? Your spirit is connected to whatever activity you were doing, whether it was a tragic event in your life to end your life. That's the connection from the spirit to this world, okay? But your soul is completely different from your spirit, okay? Let me get back to the chat. I'm not in the chat anymore.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that first one uploaded. There we go. I've got the first one uploaded now. This is what actually the first one I caught. This was taken back on, I can't remember the banners blocking it. But this was what was caught in the same location about roughly a month on the second. On the second is when I caught this. And then on the 18th, I catch that one.
Okay, go back to the other one.
Yep.
Okay, now the way I'm looking at it, okay, Eric, is you've got pretty much the same formation there with the trees in the background, and the trees in the foreground. The foreground trees, if you look at that center section, it looks circular, like it could be a portal, and maybe those are souls going through a portal.
Huh. I never would have. Let me bounce to the other one. It does shift a little, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
First. Second. First. Second. Huh. That does shift. Interesting.
Yeah. I think you actually might have captured a portal. I really do.
Well, I
think it's very possible you captured a portal.
Let me open up. Let me upload them too that you and me have discussed very. If I can remember where they're at. Daggone it. Where did they go?
Uh-oh. I'm out of coffee.
Uh-oh.
This conversation is going to go downhill from now. No coffee.
Pimp down. Pimp down. Oh! I bet I know where it's at. I better know where it's at. Odd picks. Yep, that's where they're at. Okay. So let me upload these two because this is in the exact same location, and these are the first two very odd images I caught on this game cam. The first one was this one. Now this was captured once again, just like the rest of these I've shown. They have never triggered my game cam. My game cam does a test picture every night at midnight and uploads around 12:09 to 12:10. So this was caught on August 12th. This one was off to the right, was caught a couple days later.
Yeah,
actually, I didn't even realize
that.
There's yeah, you see that right there in that circle. There's actually a real bright line. I didn't catch that before. I just caught the partial side of what this thing here was. You see this one here off to the right. You can barely catch it there.
Right.
And now you got this little white thing shooting across there. I haven't seen that before. This is all. I
really believe that you're dealing with some kind of portal activity. You're dealing with definitely portal activity there.
Possibly.
Now, again, that's
which would
just my
explain
opinion.
a lot of stuff that's going. Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I've dealt with some kind of weird stuff out here. Most of it good. Sometimes, not so good. Yeah, well, of course, I mean, we had that one
trouble, Hobbit.
I'm trying to get caught up on the comments here. I need some coffee. Stay it. But no, I mean, this is the reason why I've not moved that gate yet.
Yeah, you should have seen those guys working on Tracy's car the other day. When they were out there, they were talking about the tools and stuff, and the one guy's like, "Hand me the needle nose pliers," and he goes, "Stat." I said, "Okay, here you go." I said, "Here's the pliers." I said, "Clear."
Gamo says on his cameras he catches lighted spirals about 6 to 10 inches long on his.
Yep. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know, Mouth. Hello.
Yeah, and
how are you?
That could be, Kyle, that could have been an entity coming through the portal, the apparition that we saw, the shadow. That could very well come from the portal that I'm saying is on the property there. So, unless people actually see a portal or see some kind of activity around an alleged portal site, they're not going to believe it, because to them it's woo, it's woo science, and that's it. Woo is not practical to a lot of people, if you ask me, and that's why I differ from a lot of the investigators out there. Being Native American, and a Wachashawakan, then I'm just, I am what I am. I deal with the supernatural all the time, just as much as I deal with the cryptid and the paranormal. So, but I'm at a point right now where I can determine which is which, because I'm so active with it right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing is, I can't discount woo, and I can't discount the other stuff. Both of them are very good possibilities. Both of them have truth built in with them. I'm kind of on the fence that some of it is woo related, where some of it is not. Now, can things get embellished and things that are not actually woo be called woo? Yes, that does happen. We are humans. We describe things the best way we know how at that time. Um, but there is plenty that is truthfully woo. I mean, we know about the ancient magics and we know about the things that our ancestors did and used. That is very much real, very much ingrained in our history and our culture, very much used to this day. So that's why I say there's both of it aspected. Now, can some of it be misidentified or mistaken? Absolutely, it could. You got to think for a long time, we didn't have recordings and we didn't have books to tell our stories and what we encountered. It was passed down from generation to generation. Now, every now and then, our ancestors would add to them stories, which would where you can get the difference between the actual truth and not is because of the embellishment that does happen. Um, not all of them are Hobbit, but I'm trying. It costs a lot of money, and Lord knows I don't have it right now, but some of them are. Um, so I mean, we have to consider that in everything. Just because one doesn't believe in it doesn't make him wrong, and just because one does believe in it doesn't make him wrong. You're both right, and you're both
Right.
wrong. But the only way we're going to know for sure is we talk it together.
Yeah. Yeah. Uncut. Yeah. Rods are definitely interesting, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to consider too when you're dealing with the rod, uh, phenomena. You're dealing also with certain shutter speeds on cameras, and
Mm-hmm.
if a bird's wings are flapping at the same time of the shutter on your camera is going, it's going to look like that object is going to either be elongated like a rod, or it's going
Like
to
that
be
one.
still like a glitch in the matrix type of a thing. So
Mm-hmm.
we have that we got to
That
deal with. I'm a firm believer that
that with.
rods do exist because I've seen them. I have literally seen them. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I see things every freaking day, to tell you the truth. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's things that happen in our world that we can't see and that we can't hear. Okay, all the time, right next to us, and we
Mm-hmm.
call that the supernatural. That's the only explanation. The word describing what's going on that we can't comprehend or can't see or hear, you know. So I don't know. It is what it is. The human is definitely lacking.
Mm-hmm. Richard want to know is a
You know,
is a.
it would depend on the shutter speed of a camera or a recording device. It depends on the speed because when you, like I said, when you're dealing with camera speed, and I'm sure Dave Lester, if he's out there in the chat, he can confirm that when you're dealing with camera shutter speed on a camera, and if the object that you're filming is having the same movement, primary movement at the same shutter speed of the camera, it's going to look weird. It's going to look all like the rods, the long rods that you see with the lines coming out the side that look like legs for a centipede, that kind of stuff. But that's actually the wings of a bird flapping, okay, or
Mm-hmm.
the wings of an insect flapping. That's why it happens, and I'm not saying all of them are that a small percentage of them I would believe is that. But I do believe rods do exist, and rods come in and out of our reality all the time, just like spirits do, and the wisps that we see, which is
Mm-hmm.
spirits of people, or orbs, comes in and out of reality all the time, all the time. We
Mm-hmm.
just a lot of times we just don't see it. So, I'm starting to get
Yeah.
short-winded and tired. So. I'm gonna let you talk,
No
Eric.
worries. No worries. I mean, you guys in the chat are bringing up some very good points. I mean, this one here, very well could be just the shutter speed, which caused it to look like a rod. You're going to get that very common with insects flying in front of a camera right when a picture is snapped. That's actually more common than that in front of a camera when it's snapped, or that in front of a camera when it's snapped. Most commonly, when you got bugs in motion when the camera is taking a picture, is that. You will get that quite often. Now, that's not to say that you won't get the other, because you will, but in my experiences, that is the most common what you get when a bug flies in front of a camera when it's being snapped. So,
Yeah.
we have to take that
I
in
still say you're
consideration
dealing with
when
a
we're
portal.
doing these. I believe so, because I mean that one picture alone is just, I have never in my 32 years being on this property have ever caught this on a game cam or anything else. I've caught snakes going across my game cam. Did not look like that. I've caught squirrels and coons and possums and everything else going across my game cams. Never looked like this. This is just very oddly shaped and just unique. The color pattern to this alone is odd. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly cannot say I know exactly what that is. I know that. Thank you, Jessica. Me personally, when I first thought of it, which I've sent this picture out to 3 different people. 2 of the people are here today. One in chat, one live. The other one is not. And because I don't want my thoughts contaminating what this actually is. And it's interesting because the consensus was kind of what my thoughts were when I first saw it. So we have to take several things when we're doing investigations. We can't come out if you come out and say something is 100% this, then you're doing yourself a disservice, because there's always that factor of something that can mimic that and it's not it. That's why I always tell people I'm always 99% sure
Question
on something,
everything.
but I always leave that. Yeah, I always leave that 1% for a possibility of a misidentification, which has happened throughout history with encounters and researchers. Misidentification is a real thing that we have to consider when we're doing this type of stuff. That's why I can never say I'm 100% sure this is what it is. I will tell you this is what I believe it is, and this is my reasoning for believing this is what it is. But even I could be mistaken. Sky centipede. Woo is real. The girl Woo is extremely real. Yes, I mean it is. We can never take that out of research. We can never take that out of investigations or anything, because Woo is extremely possible. I know because I've seen it firsthand. And there's a reason why that type of woo I'll never get involved in, because I've seen what it does to people who get into that. And the man sitting next, there we go. I keep forgetting this camera's different setup to mine. The man sitting next to me right there, he's got even more knowledge than I do in that woo factor. So the woo is extremely real,
Yeah.
and it cannot be left out. Yeah, we all love histories. That's dude. I take mine to Sherlock Holmes, dude. Reading Sherlock Holmes when I was a kid is what got me into. I want to learn things. I want to investigate. I want to be Sherlock Holmes. So I'll be honest with you.
I don't want to be anybody. I don't want to grow up. I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. Then you always got the factor, I'm a big kid now. Look what I can do. I can wear new pull-ups too. Mommy, wow. I'm a big kid now.
Yeah.
We do. And then
my
that's
goodness.
another factor. This is something our ancestors have done, and this is something that we do to this day. We see something odd, and our brain goes, "Okay, we've seen this somewhere. What is it seen? What is it?" And this is what. Okay, well, this is this. Now that doesn't mean that this is what we say it is. This is how our brain is computing what this thing is, what this strangeness is that we're seeing. This has happened. It's happened throughout time.
Exactly. I agree.
ETs, yeah, they do. So, I've seen the heartbeat of the earth when I did a San Pedro ceremony. I didn't record it on my phone. Knew to not take pictures. Wow, the girl, that is cool.
Yeah. You're not going to get anything turn out in pictures anyways, because it's such a higher energy when you're dealing with ceremony. A lot of people think that they can capture it on camera, and really, to be honest with you, the only camera you would probably be able to capture something would be the oh god, I can't remember the name of it now. The full spectrum camera is really the only camera that you would probably catch supernatural activity on, because of the level of intensity and the vibration of the energies being used are going to be far superior to whatever camera is out there. You'd probably be better off using a 4K or better video camera to videotape, those kind of interactions. I don't want to say encounters because, but interactions is what I would call it, because it's ceremony, Yeah, there's so much that we just can't comprehend as a human race that goes on around us every minute, every second of the day. And it just, it amazes me. Yeah, it amazes me at 60 years old that things are the way they are, and that we are so underdeveloped, as a race. We are literally underdeveloped, and I do believe that it's for a reason. That we're indoctrinated to basically be slaves for the and I hate to say it this way, the elitists, the cabal, whatever you want to call them. We covered a little bit of that last night on the podcast, with the whole Epstein and Thomas Jefferson type of a thing, combination. There are beings that live here. I'm not going to call them humans. Okay. There are beings that live here that have been here a very long time and have manipulated humanity, society as a whole, for their own profit. Plain and simple. And they try to dumb us down and keep us dumbified to a point that we will never be able to revert back to the abilities and the gifts and the enhanced abilities that we technically have within us. Okay. If you guys would have saw the way I grew up, and if I would have recorded everything I did growing up, it would blow your mind. Okay. You would literally have your mind just freaking melt, because you would have seen things that you can't comprehend why it happens. I mean, you would have seen levitation. You would have seen basically cloaking. You would have seen portals opening up. You would have seen shape shifting. You would have seen all kinds of stuff, because that's what I was raised as. Okay. I was raised as the Native American dark arts. So I've interacted with these things. That's why Eric said that, I know a little bit of something about the woo, and I do, because I was part of that woo. I was part of that for a big part of my life, and I still am. I still am. I'm just not the dark part of it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd rather end it on that note right there, and say thank you to everybody in the chat. Judy, good to see you. Kyle, it was great to have you in the chat. Uncut. Richard, good to have you in the chat. Roxanne, as always. Hobbit, Girl in the Gong. Everybody, you guys are fantastic in the chat. You really are. Kyle, you have a good one, brother. Okay. And remember, Camo Dad, Ida, Uncut. Let me see who else. I know I'm missing somebody. I know Jessica was in there, and so thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me see. Hobbit, good to see you. Freaky Geek, I'm not going to forget you. I won't forget you. Hobbit, I'm not going to forget you. Poncho, I don't know where you disappeared to, my good friend, but I'm not going to forget you either. Okay. But you
Special
all
shout out
just,
to Richard.
whenever you face something like, yeah, Richard too. Yeah. Thank you, Richard.
Well, he
Thank you very much, brother.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. You're great. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much. Just remember that Eric and I are here for you guys. We don't have the answers for everything, but we can reach some kind of resolution with everything as long as we discuss it like this in a forum. Okay, Angelique, good to see you in here. Okay.
Yep.
And we talk about it in the forums and all that on the podcast all the time, and we love interacting with you guys in the chat. Okay, so but the whole reason is to sit around like a group of old friends and just try to figure out why things happen. Okay, try to figure out why we see the things we do, interact with the things we do on a daily basis, and that's why we're here. So, Judy, thank you for being here. It is what it is, really. And I've said that about 3 or 4 times this podcast. It is what it is, but that's literally the phrase to use. We're trying to decipher and make sense of everything, and we're trying to compare it to our cultures, Norse culture, and cultures around the world, and just kind of comprehend what's going on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a subject that we need. Yeah.
And that's what makes it great when we have two different cultures coming together to talk about it. Do I have a little? I'm a mutt, dude. I'm a pure American. I'm a freaking mutt. I'm German, Irish, English, Scottish, Norwegian, Comanche, Cherokee, and Lakota. I'm a freaking mutt. All right. My primary bloodline, yes, is Norse. It really is. But I have a little bit of the Native American culture in me, a little bit of this culture in me that I love and learn. And this is what makes this type of show as good as it is, because we have different views on the same things from different cultures that we can come together and we can see how they tie together very closely. And this is how we learn.
Exactly.
And this is what this is all about.
Exactly.
I'm learning,
and that's why we have the chat
too.
too. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it without everybody in the chat, our extended family in the chat. It's just the way it is, So, but if you want to catch us tomorrow morning here at 11 a.m., we'll be on again. We'll talk about some more weird stuff. Okay. It's going on all the time around us. Okay. So we'll be back on. And thank you, Cryptid Hunters, for being here. Oh, and visit War Woman Goods, if you could, please, because she has got some fantastic jewelry on there. I actually snuck on the other day and looked at it, and I was thinking of getting something for the wife, so Tracy would have something for Christmas. But I'm still looking. So, but yeah, check out War Woman Goods because it's on Etsy, and also visit the Cryptid Huntress on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. DA is another good one. DA and I, we have our differences, but I love the man like a brother. Okay, so whatever differences we have, doesn't affect the relationship that we have, if you know what I mean. Okay. So I want to put that out there too. Eric put it best too. I mean, even him and I don't agree on everything, but that's why we come together. Because if we can't talk about this, we don't learn anything if we don't talk about it. Okay. I mean, there's boots on the ground investigating, and then there's sitting around the council fire and talking about it and try to make sense of it. And that's what we do here. So, but I want to thank everybody for being here. Visit Bizarre and the Unknown on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't already. This channel here, the Nighthawk High Strangeness podcast channel, if you could subscribe to, that would be great. And I'll let Eric tell you about his books and stuff before we go. And don't forget, next Friday at 11:55 p.m. Friday night is going to be myself, and I don't know if that's too late for Eric or not to be on there, but we're going to start at 11:55, just before midnight. And Ryan Tremblay is my little brother is going to be on there, and we're going to talk all kinds of stuff about Chupacabra. And, it's going to be a good one. And it's going to be, it's going to be Midnight Monsters. Okay. So that is what the podcast is called. I've already put it out there, and it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. Trust me. When you get us three together, you got a good podcast. Trust me. So anyways, Eric, go ahead and take it away, brother.
So, I'll be going live tonight, 5:00 Central Standard Time, for Campfire Chats with Eric and guest. And this is a safe place for you to come and share your encounters. I share mine. Other people share theirs. If you want to come on live and talk about your encounters, I'll bring you on live. If you just want to talk about it and chat, we can talk about it and chat. I love giving a platform for people to talk about their encounters. Regardless if I believe in their encounter or not, I'm not going to, it's your encounter, not mine. I wasn't there. I can't say that happened or it didn't, no matter how far-fetched it sounds. But I want to provide a safe place for you to come and do this. And that's what Saturday nights are for. Sunday, I'm doing a show on Norse mythology and basis behind the dragons. There's been a lot of dragon sightings lately, and I've hit it a few times on dragons. I'm more familiar with the Norse side than I'm in the other stuff, so I'm kind of picking that, but I've dabbled in it all. This time here, I'm primarily focusing on just the one, unlike my last time. Hey, Corey. So you can catch me on YouTube at the Bizarre and the Unknown. I've got some old newspaper clippings that talk about ape men and Sasquatch and stuff like that I've started recording and putting out. The new book that I just came up with the other day at work, I've got chapter 1 I put out. It's me reading it, so it's not the greatest, but I put it out on audio to give you guys a taste of what this new book's like. If you get a chance, go over there and look at my videos, and you'll see some of that stuff and some of my short stories that I write. I've narrated it and put it out on YouTube as well. If you go to Amazon, you can find my books. Look up, like my name says here on the deal, E.D.Testerman. When you find my book, click my name above the book. It takes you to my author's fan page. Anytime I release a new book, it will let you know. I have currently got my 5 books out, 4 of them on audio. One of them is being done right now. I've been working a lot with this guy that's doing the new book, Vangerian Guard, book 1, Vangerian Guard, book 1, House of Battle. He's doing good. So I'm hoping to have it out here before too long. And I will be releasing a new one that's just strictly historical fiction called Viking Age Secrets in Mercia. I should be getting that back any day now on the final editing. Then I'll have it out for Kindle, paperback, and hardback, and then I'll release it to be produced in audio as well. So you can go to audio platforms. You can find my books on audio. You go to Amazon, you'll find them. Kindle, you'll find them. So there's different ways, different places you can go to find my books. And then every now and then I like to go live when I'm working on a book to give you guys a chance to pick my brain while I'm working on it and ask questions about the book that I'm working on at the time.
Right.
I put my other ones on the sideline for now because I wanted to get this book concept down before I forgot it. So that's places you can go to find me.
I'm on the second chapter of my book, so I'll be getting that done. Hopefully, the second chapter here sometime this coming week. So, first book I'm actually writing, so it ought to be a a conundrum. It might even be a bit of a, I don't know, like walking through a Scooby-Doo house. You never know. You never know what you're going to get behind the shadows. So, but everybody, thank you. Corey, good to see you. Good to see you in there. You came a little later, but watch the whole program, Corey. Okay, if you can, let me know what you think. If you can, please like it and share it as much as you can. That really helps out with the algorithms. And then click that bell icon to get our notifications of lives, because that's all we do here is lives. We don't do too much pre-recorded. I do a lot of pre-recorded stuff for the members only part of the chat. I mean, part of the channel. So I want to thank you all very much for being here. God bless you all. We love you. And if you need us, just let us know, okay? And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., everybody. Okay?
Peace, love, and blessings, everyone.
Take care.